I feel as though the dynamic relationship between my physical expectations and the reality after that shocks me after the first set is rather unusual. It fluctuates a lot, and it's like an incessant thing that continues through with the smaller program, mainly because of its high frequency and the excessive volume demand that it requires, right? And I've kind of broken down the smaller, or like the first base cycle of the smaller program into a few categories. So there are two demands: strength and volume, right? And each day varies in its I guess its levels of strength versus volume, right? And I feel like with each day, it's trying to accustom you with a high level of intensity, but with those varying levels, right? So the first day is simply 4 sets of 9. This, although not high in sets, is very high in reps, right? So obviously, this this training day demands great aerobic, I guess, aerobic expectations, right? It requires you to have a lot of endurance with this kind of rep scheme, especially because of the fact that you are limiting yourself with a small number of a small number of sets, and thereby compensating this with such a large rep demand. And well, I always found, or from my first training session last week, I was under the assumption that the first day, the 4 sets of 9 rep scheme, is the easiest day, simply because the volume, I guess, like the disparity between volume and strength, right? I guess my mindset, or what I perceive intensity as, is more so a leverage towards strength, right? I value strength over volume when I consider intensity, right? And it's kind of got me thinking, right? Or sorry, not thinking, but I started to neglect the volume, right? And yeah, this training session just reawakened me, or like gave me a whole new insight back into the stress and the challenges of volume. Yeah. Now I came into this thinking, since it's only volume, I would just have to like hit off the reps. Well, the last 2 reps will be fairly difficult, but I would manage through, right? Well, from what I'm rambling on about, you could probably come to the conclusion that, yeah, I was wrong, right? And the reason why is because from my last training session, I did 4 sets of 9 at 87.5 kilos, right? I increased this session by 12.5 kilos. I ramped it up to 100 kilos, 4 sets of 9. Now, you may be wondering, why the heck did I do that? Well, simply because I have found the first session to be very minimal in its intensity, right? I almost felt like if you have saw my last videos, you could tell just from how eager I was for like fatigue and for like a very excessive stimulus, right? You could tell my arrogance, right? How naive I was, because I treated that 87.5 kilos merely as just a very comfortable region workout, right? So I felt cocky, or I felt confident without the context of what I'm doing with hindsight. I felt confident that I could do 100 kilos, 4 sets of 9, right? So I got that 100 kilos on my back and I took it for a ride, right? Did the first 9 sets and, not the first 9 sets, the first 9 reps, and it was challenging. I feel like there's a tendency for me to always have the first 2 reps to be very uncontrolled. I always drop down into the hole super fast, mainly because my body hasn't accustomed to that heavy load at the bottom, right? And because of my, right here, I do a 150 kilo hold, right? This kind of shocks my CNS such that the 100 kilos feels significantly lighter, right? And because simply the standing position has made the 100 kilos feel lighter, I haven't really compensated for that strength disparity or discrepancy when I'm coming down into the eccentric, right? So, the first few reps were a bit uncontrolled, but then later I managed to get a rhythm and I hit it through, right? But if you see here, I did begin to fatigue a bit in the first set. Not too much, but it was to the point where I started feeling a bit wobbly in my legs and I was questioning my ability or my capacity to finish off the last 3 reps, right? So I opted out to rest about 7 minutes per set. Now, keep in mind, if I did this in a commercial gym, I would probably get kicked out and cussed out. But that is the luxury of a personal gym, right? So I decided to do 7 minutes of resting. Now, I'm not quite sure whether this will hinder my ability to, I'm not too sure if this will limit my progression. And I've been wondering, like, does a longer resting period actually reduce the efficiency of a workout, right? And I've did a rough research on this, and it seems to be the conclusion that, or like, there's a trend that you shorten the rest periods if you're going for hypertrophy. You minimize the time for your body, for your muscles to recover in order to fully break it down, right? But in a strength perspective, you would want to increase the rest period between sets. Now, obviously, you don't want to be excessive with it, right? Then it just comes to a point where you lose your warm-up and it defeats the purpose of a periodized, or like a period of working out, right? It just extends that time way too long. Now, keep in mind, with my 10 sets of 3, my last workout, I physically needed more than 7 minutes of rest per set in order to complete the whole workout. So yeah, but with this workout, right, the first set almost made me feel a bit of uneasiness going into the next few sets, because I just started feeling really heavy in my legs. I was like, the high volume, the high demand of my aerobic abilities, right? That really just took a strong hit onto my legs, right? So that was the biggest concern of today's workout, but I did manage to finish all 4 sets. It just, I guess, enlightened me to acknowledge the strength requirements of high volume, high rep workouts. And I've come to realize that I should not neglect this kind of training, right? So, aside from that, just talking about the mental toll of this workout, it seems like every single workout I do, it's either I feel really uncomfortable, I go into the set, and then I feel good, right? I'm like, I'm able to hit all these reps. And the other days is I feel somewhat confident in doing these, hitting all these reps, but as soon as I do my first set, I am instantly humbled, right? So those are the 2 main mindsets that I've been occupying these days. But aside from that, I'll finish it off here, and I'll see you guys next time.